Hey all, Tom Moran here from Tom's Big Spiders. This episode we're going to be rehousing a couple little slings, my Alfona pelmamoriai and my Pseudopilopus species Columbia. They'll both be getting put into some tarantula crib sling enclosures. I've had a lot of folks over the years ask me about them, and I've been needing to order from them for quite some time. Well, I finally got some in that I can try out so folks can check them out and see if it's something they'd be interested in. So enough of me talking, let's rehouse a couple little slings. All right, so we're about to rehouse some deadly spiders. I can't do it. We're rehousing a couple. I was trying my clickbait. The most dangerous spiders in the world. We're doing two little slings, and it's going to be a fun video because honestly, slings are about the easiest thing in the world. Well, New World slings are about the easiest thing in the world to rehouse. So we have my Alfona pelmamoriai, and then we have my Pseudopilopus species Columbia, which is finally big enough to warrant a change in scenery. Now, just to show what we're going to be rehousing them into, I finally placed an order at Tarantula Cribs. I've been meaning to for a while now, and finally placed an order, and I got sent a couple freebies to try out. And right here we have the Tarantula Sling Crib. And then we have the Tarantula Cube, I believe it's called. I had to look it up. Love the packaging. Billy and I, before we started recording, were talking about the fact the packaging is just gorgeous, and as are the enclosures. So here is the Tarantula Cube. I believe this is 3 by 3 by 3. And you see the Tarantula Cribs logo on it. And they have these awesome little, can I do this one-handed? I can, magnetic tops. So there's the 4 little magnets here, 4 little magnets in the corner, and boop, right on, which I think is cool as heck. And then we have over here, this is the sling crib. Little guy, notice those holes are beautifully drilled in. Lots of ventilation in these, which is something that is sometimes unfortunately lacking when you use the dram vials, unless you put extra holes around the side. Lots of ventilation there for them. Now, these are something that I know there's gonna be people that are gonna look at these and go, I don't feel like spending that much money on it, and I don't blame you. I'm not trying to sell anybody on these. This is for the folks that always contact me that are just getting into the hobby, and this is who I think are gonna be really particularly excited about these. Folks that are just getting into the hobby, they maybe pick up their first sling and they want something pretty to display it in. You tell them to put it in a deli cup. They don't want a deli cup. They don't want a dram vial. They want something that they can show it off to friends, that they can put on a little shelf or on a desk and have people ask about. And I totally understand that. And for folks with more modest collection, I'm assuming these would also be something you might take a look at, because again, can they be pricey? Yes. This one here runs for, I believe, $10. This one here runs for, I want to say 15 for the 3 by 3 by 3. Is that going to be worth it for somebody that is keeping, you know, right now I think I have 30-something slings. They're all over there. Probably not. But for somebody that has a small amount of tarantulas, a small amount of slings, that wants something nice to show them off in, this is something that I definitely would recommend to them. So again, it's all a matter of what you plan on spending or what you want to spend. Can you do it on the cheap? Yes, you can get one of these little vials here for a matter of like 50 cents. You could get a deli cup for, again, about 50 cents, but some people want something a little nicer to show off. So for the folks that are going to come on and go, I looked at them, they're not worth the money, that's totally fine. I totally understand it. Then obviously you're not going to be the target audience for this one. For me, I have to say personally, I can't wait to display them in these. They look very, very cool. And this is one of my cooler Alfona pelma species, so it'll be nice to have them here. My problem is when I put one species in something like this, I want to put them all in something like this, so we'll see if I end up going back and buying more of them just to have the rest of them in. So the first one we're going to do is Alfona pelmamoriai. And I'm going to open this up. Hopefully Billy can get a shot of it. This one is obviously tearing it up as far as growth rate. Now, folks, we talk about the fact that Alfona pelma species grow very slowly. This one I got in, oh God, what was it? I think maybe late 2018, early 2019. It was a little sling. You can see now it's actually got, ooh, it's actually picking up pretty well. It's got some of that bluish tone to it. Not really, you know, tearing it up as far as blue goes, but still a very tiny sling. I've had a lot of folks that have been asking me to do an update, because I did an update a while back on my Alfona pelma species, and they're like, when are you going to do another one? Well, when they've grown enough to warrant it. Unfortunately, right now, they're very, very tiny, so there's not really much to show off. Now, this enclosure, I have it in here. Billy wants to back up just a second, is one of the larger, I think they're like made for larger Matchbox cars or Hot Wheels, whatever you prefer. I put a bunch of them in here, but I'm honestly probably not going to use these for slings much longer, only because I like to give my slings an opportunity to burrow. And as you can see here, there really wasn't enough. They're not deep enough to permit burrowing. And Alfona pelma species, especially I found with the slings, do appreciate being given the room to burrow. So this here will give it a little bit of depth. I think I poked a little hole in the corner. I did. I poked a little hole in the corner right in there. So we'll give it some space to dig. And if it wants to dig, it can go dig. It'll bring some of that substrate up and create a nice little burrow in there. So let's get this one out, which shouldn't be too difficult. Get this, oops, sorry. I'm gonna get it in here probably. If I can get on the leaf, we can just pick it right up. Yeah, and keep its little leaf decoration. You gonna stay around that leaf? You gonna make it easy for me? You are not. All right. And there you go. So there she is, sitting right in the corner. There's a little bluish sheen there. You want to back out and get. So we're going to go ahead and put the top on this. Now, be careful when putting the tops on, because if you don't put them on the right way, because of the magnets, they float. I found that out before. Plus, when you're doing it on a metal table, you don't want to make sure you don't drop them on the table, because then they get stuck to the table, which I found out earlier. And then obviously something to be careful about is because that snaps into place, be very careful that the sling's not up top or has its little legs over the top, because I can see him losing a leg that way. And now we are going to do the Pseudhapalopus species Columbia. This one is, oh, let me bring the light over here. And what did I just say about putting these upside down?
Slide it over here.
No, it'll scratch the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
There we go. And we're just gonna set that right there. I actually said to Billy beforehand, remind me not to put that down, because I knew I was gonna forget, and I did it anyway. There we go. But you see how big this one is. Now this is what I mentioned when I first got them. What was it, about 1/8 of an inch? It was so small that when I try to find it in the enclosure, I would get it confused with grains of substrate. That's how tiny it was. And it would actually give me a headache for trying to focus on it for too long. But molted several times. Pull it up here. Nope. Nope, there goes the other light. There she is right down in the corner over there. Actually pretty good, probably about 1/2 an inch, 3/4 of an inch. Let me pull the... Yeah, probably about 1/2 an inch, 3/4 of an inch or so. She's finally putting on some size. Now, when she was really teeny tiny, what I was doing is feeding her cricket legs. Every once in a while, I would also have some flightless fruit flies, but I normally don't have them on hand. I've been doing a lot more with true spiders now, and I've been using a lot of flightless fruit flies. So of course, now I gotta figure out how to put this thing on. There we go. I've been doing a lot with flightless fruit flies, but back when I first got this one, I did not have any on hand, so they will scavenge feed. The trick is, when you have them in something this small and you put a cricket leg in there, they'll feed on the cricket leg, then they'll get probably filled up within one feeding and move off it. You want to make sure you pluck the remains out, because it's very easy to get mold in there if you leave the cricket leg behind. Or I think what I was also using is killing little tiny pinhead red runner roaches, and the same thing with them. They would eat, there would still be some remains left. You want to go in there and pluck them out. But she's finally, hopefully I'm praying to gosh after keeping this one for so long that it's actually a female, because I'd love to have it for quite some time. But she's finally putting on some size. Awesome little enclosure. Again, not for everybody. I know it. There's always going to be somebody that comes on during the comments and makes a comment that I don't feel like spending that kind of money, that's awesome. Don't. Seriously, I'm not, this isn't so much me trying to convince anybody to buy something. It's giving my, feedback on them and who I think would appreciate them. And I will be recommending these to folks because I get a lot of folks that contact me. I've just gotten into the hobby. I've got my first sling. I don't want to put it in something that looks, crummy or repurposed. I want a nice enclosure for it. I would definitely recommend these in a heartbeat. So there we go. A mooreae. And I got to turn this one around because I didn't want to cover up the logo. And Pseudopilopus species Columbia, both rehoused in their new tarantula cribs. Now again, if you look behind me, you'll see that I use a combination of different types of enclosures, everything from the found enclosure types that you find at Walmart or the dram vials, 16-ounce deli cups, 32-ounce deli cups, all kinds of stuff that you can procure rather cheaply and alter to make good tarantula or sling enclosures. But I've also been starting to amass a collection of some of the nicer premium enclosures, like the Exoterra Nanos, the Tarantula Cribs enclosures, the Primal enclosures, all types of Lorex Plastics enclosures, all types of really nice enclosures to put my spiders in, because I'm at a point now where I don't have room to get a whole heck of a lot more spiders, so I can use some of that hobby money that I have to pick up nicer enclosures. It's all up to the individual, so don't be a snob either way. If you're somebody that likes to use the cheaper enclosures, I totally understand it, but don't begrudge somebody that wants to spend a little money. And if you're somebody that spends a lot of money on tarantula enclosures, please recognize that just because you spent a lot of money on it doesn't mean it's a better enclosure than the guy who has his in a Sterilite container. I've seen many instances where people have fancy enclosures. They look nice, but it's not the right environment for the spider. And then I've seen many instances where people have them in Sterilite containers or plastic boxes. They may not look pretty, but the spider's in a perfect environment to thrive. So please always keep that in mind. So that will do it for this one. As always, if you like enough to subscribe, very much appreciate. Click the little circle right up in there. If you'd like to check out some more videos, see what I'm about, you will find them over in here. If you take the time to comment, know that I will take the time to respond. It just may take me a couple days. That'll do it for this one. As always, stay safe, guys. We'll catch you all next time.